unprecedented times.
These are unprecedented times. We're going to talk about it. Mike and Kenny in the morning.
Thank you. I bought a bunch of Stonks today.
Yeah.
It's funny that when we're hiring employees, they always ask like, hey, do you guys have a 401k? And I'm like, we have better than that.
We have the Stonks channel.
Yeah. Paramify is actually a hedge fund masquerading as a compliance software company.
Yeah. One day we'll come out of stealth.
That's right.
Unprecedented times.
It's not a hedge fund. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Just kidding, investors.
Just kidding. Sorry, Diogo.
So it's interesting times to be building SaaS when rumors of the death of SaaS abound.
Mm-hmm.
Also in an industry like federal compliance where it kind of feels like the ground is shifting under everybody's feet all the time.
It is. You got to be comfortable with the shifting.
Yeah.
It always is. It's been for forever, and it's just accelerating.
Gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get comfortable with that?
Energy drinks, Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Someone give me. When I'm really pressed, I turn to little balls of cheese. Bolitas sabor de queso. 0 trans fat.
Yeah. That's what matters, you know?
I actually don't want to eat those, but
Let's talk about 20x for a minute. So we are on the precipice of 20x moderate ATO.
dude, we're about to go down fakie down the ramp.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're
Yeah,
we're down it,
yeah.
man. We're flying.
Yeah.
We're about to do a switch to
PMO's reviewing the package for the cohort 1 for the moderate pilot. It's interesting because in the industry, there's kind of this, maybe it's a narrative, maybe it's just a question that people are asking, but there's like everybody's wondering,
the agency's gonna accept this?
like, are they going to take it, right? And all the success of it does kind of hinge on that, if we're being real. Like, if they don't take it, the whole thing crumbles. But one telltale sign that we found out is agency sponsorships have taken a dive for Rev 5.
100%.
Which, if you take
It started a long time ago.
yeah,
I mean, we were FedRAMP high ready a long time ago, and we're like, what's going on? Because obviously we didn't know what was going on. And then we found out, and we're like, oh, I see. Everything's changing.
yeah, and it seems like if the sponsorships are going down, they're at least hopeful that there might be a better way for them to buy from the vendors they want to buy from.
Right. And we know of a few that are actually really hopeful, and even
we know of one that'll be leveraging us the day the ATO comes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that happens. And I do think there's appetite in agencies for an easier way for them to get software.
100%. We're here. We are here. We're in the future. We're living in it. And the future needs to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's changing so fast. Standards change all the time. People are sick of the ground shifting beneath their feet, but they just kind of got to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's just going to kind of be the default state for a while because, you know, in federal, there's a lot to figure out. You know, the DoD stuff is maybe growing further from FedRAMP, maybe not. Like, there's just a lot of uncertainty there. But then just in the industry overall, you know, there was a lot of stuff this last week that we talked about as a leadership team with AI and agents. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's been a thing for a while. Like, okay, SaaS companies, are they going to die? Are they going to live? AI companies are the future. But then most of the AI companies are pretty shallow. Like, there's a lot of companies out there, you know, building LLM for fill in the industry.
Right.
And 99% of those are probably dying too. Like, there's the future of software is going to look really different. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this a lot, but it probably is a mix of like really good ontology, really good system of record with agents leveraging great information to go do great things.
Yeah. You have to have some sort of something that's solid, some sort of lexicon. We call it like the terraforming of Paramify.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very beginning, we were really focused on making sure that we understood what we were really trying to do. And Paramify was always trying to be at the epicenter of, planning, execution, reporting. We've always tried to be in that space, right? And so that's not actually going to change.
Yeah.
Right. So risk management actually won't change in terms of like conceptual, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. It's always going to be data. 10 years from now, it's going to be, what is the import of this data?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that goes down. Maybe it goes up. I don't know. But the importance of data is really always at the epicenter of every cybersecurity engagement. So what is the data? What are the people, processes, and technology that touch it? And so we really get excited about the advancements in AI is because you can now do things that weren't possible before. You have agents that can actually just work forever, like in perpetuity, on a problem that otherwise, you just never would get to it. So the people, processes, and things that touch that, having a good relationship set there. So that's on one side. That's on the implementation of a risk management program.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of the coin, where I started in my career in cybersecurity was on the assurance side. And also there, you're planning, what risk am I assessing? And it's like, oh, it's data. Yeah. So, okay, let me understand what are the people, process, and technology that touch this, and what are the capabilities that have been implemented by management to address this risk. And so let's report on what we saw management do and what our opinion is. And in the past, all you had was like, this point in time assessment. And so in the past, it made sense, given the tools we had for something like FedRAMP, it made a lot of sense. Why was no one liked it, but the RMF was trying to get to a point where it's like, hey, this is a continuous assessment.
Mm-hmm.
And the tools, it's just like impossible. You just have, like we've seen in the industry, the spreadsheet from hell with 166 tabs or more. You have these documents that weigh several pounds, right? Huge, 2,000 page SSPs, 4,000 page SSPs, more than that, right? We have to maintain that, and the only way we can do that is a lot of pretty smart people, or just warm bodies that are just, executing procedures. And I guess that's a good start because it gets us in motion for like, what should we be thinking about? We should be thinking about access control. We should be thinking about change management. We should be thinking about all these things. But I saw what really pained me, the outcome of trying to do that with really crappy tools is just so painful.
Mm-hmm.
So painful. And I think everybody had the realization. How many people did we talk to, when they see Paramify, they're like, oh man, this is my dream tool. I actually tried to do this 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
I knew that was possible.
Or like, oh, I have an LLM that does this, but it's, everybody felt that pain.
Yeah.
And it was not obvious how to solve for that. But if you take it down, like Elon Musk says, take it down to the first principles.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you want to build an amazing company, you need to start with first principles. And for Paramify, that's always been, let's break it down.
Yeah, it's kind of validating of that original thesis of like, if we go for the very basic principles of risk management, the data, the people, processes, technologies that touch it, and get that really clear and built out in the platform, then we can automate, whether it's SSP, Trust Center, POAM stuff, like we can automate everything around it. And now with agents, automate even more, security questionnaires, whatever it might be. All the advancements in automation AI that come out actually just make it all better because those first principles are intact.
Yep. Yep. We're at Paramify, we have a few engineers that are really adept at using agents, and where they're actually, maybe they're almost tripling their productivity in some cases, like legit. And that's incredible.
It's incredible.
So you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to understand what problem you're solving so that you can coordinate, the outputs of whatever it is you're doing. And so, that's, if you start with the core principles, those things aren't really going to change. Those are going to persist for, basically forever, right? Unless, the laws of physics change, and those things you can count on. And if you get really good staying grounded there, I think you're looking at the future with a lot of hope and excitement, like we are.
Yeah.
On the outside, a lot of people are worried about all the things changing. And so if you have built your strategy on, okay, well, let's automate this evidence collection on, whether we have S3 buckets all the S3 buckets are basically secured correctly. You have the right firewall rules in place. That's like a tactic, right? That's really down low. And the technology changes. APIs are really, I think they're still important today. Will they be important 5 years from now? It looks like maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they will be. Maybe they won't be. I don't really know. Maybe it's all done by MCP. Maybe MCP doesn't win. It looks like MCP was the answer, for us, and we have those capabilities and they're really awesome. But now Claudebot comes out and, makes us question those tactics, right? The technology. So if you've focused on like the details, or even like a framework, if you pick a framework, hey, we want to base our security program on, NIST. No, we want to do PCI. And so for us at Adobe, it was like, well, we want to have a security program that tries to do everything. And so you get into this, we're going to manage a common controls framework, which becomes, if you really want to do it, a full-time job. But I realized really early on doing that you need to be more principles focused, and it's hard to do when there's a lot of noise. But
well, and to your point, like a lot of stuff can change. Frameworks could go away. Like FedRAMP could disappear tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like any of these frameworks could change their requirements, change how they want reporting, disappear completely. What's not going to change? Risk. Like the data, if anything, with all of the AI and everything, the data is there's even more risk than there ever has been, right? Like agents can also go in and exploit things faster than any human ever could, or find vulnerabilities, whatever it might be. So the risk doesn't go away, which means
actually goes up there.
Yeah.
You mentioned
you have to have good risk management, right? Like you have to have a good risk management plan. And that's where the whole focus of Paramify is build great risk management, planning, executing, reporting. Like build a great risk management program. Everything else can be flexible. If it's API or MCP, who cares? That stuff can change. That stuff can move. You can leverage that however you need to. What matters? The data, people, processes, technologies to touch it. Yeah.
We watched, we're big fans of the All In podcast. I listen to it a lot. It's always interesting. And I'm trying to kind of dissect what everybody's saying there. But ultimately, it is, if you are a real thin, if you're a SaaS application that's really simple, that's just sitting on top of a CRUD database, it's like basically a UI on top of a, for example, OSCAL, right? If you're just a UI on top of that, the value there is really low, right? That's useless.
Yeah.
Right. And in the new era of, this agentic TAM that we're all trying to, address, that's going to get thinner and thinner. Right. So software, those tools will continue to persist. Right. Software will exist, in the future, and AI will use the software, but we need to be like making sure that we're capturing the value from the new capabilities. So if you expect everything to stay the same, you should not be building a company for sure today. If you're excited about the ground shifting and the new opportunities that it unlocks, I think, yeah, absolutely. You should be really, really excited.
Yeah.
About the future.
Goes back to like Jim Rohn's thing from ages ago, like inefficiency creates opportunity. That's where it's all born. And anytime there's change, there's going to be inefficiency. So change means opportunity.
Yep. So I think the message we should maybe talk about, if you're in the middle of FedRAMP right now, and if you're just like,
it's a tricky spot. Yeah, because you've got to decide, Rev 5 is still an option. And if you've got an agency sponsor, it's a hard thing to walk away from. And so it's still a way to go get there. Even for companies that have a Rev 5 ATO, they're not required to do 20x, but they are getting nudged towards it. Like with the new VDR stuff, with, now your SSP is going to have to be digital. And so you're going to have to convert that to OSCAL or whatever else you're going to use for that, but it has to get there. So like, you don't have to go do 20x. You can do Rev 5, but it's going to look different, and it's probably going to keep evolving and changing as time goes on. That's hard. It's hard to know what to do.
Especially the one problem that we're in the middle of, right, is you have Department of War, and then you also have FedRAMP, and those have always actually been different, right? So people who actually really know. So if you're selling to a .mil versus a .gov, those are different problems, right? That you're solving for. The data that a .gov takes in has a different level of importance, maybe more on the sensitive side for civilians, right? Their PII. And then on the .mil side, you have actual locations of military units and mission information, where the risk of that data is like just really, really, really high, right? Making sure that the people who get that data, it's authorized, and also need to ensure that if military operations are using your software to fulfill their mission, that it's something that they can depend on. So it's a completely different use case, right? So it never really should have been, the same program, right? FedRAMP I, and then you had IL5. Those were always different. They're similar because they were based on the NIST 800-53 framework. Yeah. But they were never really the same, So that's actually, in a way, it's kind of good, right? That there's a divergence, right? Pete's been really clear about that it's a goal, that there's, it would
at least some element of reciprocity. Yeah,
but should not be the expectation. So also remember, like 20x, like Pete's looking to us, right? He's looking to the industry, right, to innovate, and it is really, really fun. Being a part of that, being part of Cohort 1 in the moderate implementation has been incredible. I think if you tell me like a year ago, we're approaching March when when all of this happened. If you told me that, Paramify would have almost every single control with automated validation, and like for its FedRAMP authorization, I think, oh my God, that's exciting. I didn't know we would do it so fast, right? I didn't know we would be here.
Yeah.
So pretty incredible what can happen if you think, let's see what's possible. So in the past, a lot of the agencies are like, that's impossible. That can't happen. A lot of people would have looked at us funny. I think I always believed, that we would do it. I knew it was going to be really hard. But Paramify today is literally 10 times better than it was a year ago. And I think that it's going to be 10 times better a year from now. We're just kind of in that phase. So really, really exciting what can happen, because we're experiencing, the benefits of what disruption really looks like. And our clients are too. So Sorry, I always, I kind of wander around, never really get to the point. But what I really meant to say was that, agencies didn't really have the tools for this uncertain future, obviously. So in the beginning, yes, all of the conversation was, oh, are the agencies, going to take this? I'm like, I think so. I think they will. Like, is it really working? Come on. Less than 400 companies actually using FedRAMP, right, as a strategy. I mean,
over a decade later.
Over a decade later.
Yeah.
And it's a 7-figure investment. Of course, it's not going to get adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Something needed to be done. Did the tools exist at the first? No, they didn't. But they do now.
Well, and the other thing too
it's really exciting.
It's really exciting.
Love it.
The other thing too is, what keeps a lot of progress from coming is people feeling like, okay, we have to figure out exactly what the next phase looks like before we start moving towards that. The thing I actually admire here that Pete has done is said like, yeah, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we're going to start taking steps because it's not successful the way that it is now. It's successful in the sense that like it is a beautiful security standard. Like the data is well protected if you are FedRAMP authorized. Like it's a good way to protect data. Was it a good program for the government to get good software? No. If anything, it kept a lot of great software out of their hands for a decade. And so being able to say, okay, let's keep the security standards high, but let's also make it possible for the government to go get great softwares coming out and make it possible for great software companies to sell into the government without these huge hurdles of cost and time and personnel and all that. That's all a good thing. And taking an initial step towards that, it might not look like 20X does today in a year or 2 years or 5 years, but it is going to change FedRAMP for the better.
Yeah.
It'll make it more accessible. It'll get better software into government. The data will be better protected. Like it is a win.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it looks like in the long term.
Yeah. I mean, Pete talked about it earlier. Last year when we did the podcast with him, the August 25th podcast, right in March, whatever it was. Government should have access to the same tools that make us efficient. So now, I was just saying, we have some engineers that are literally 3x the productivity.
Yeah.
And it's bonkers, 3x, and it's going to get better. Everybody should have that. Can you imagine if, civilian agencies, .mil agencies have, maybe they already do. Who knows what the Illuminati are covering, right? But if they have that access to that kind of power, what does the future look like? Looks pretty freaking exciting.
Yeah.
I think, good and bad, right? It's going to be really, really exciting to watch that play out. So you've got to do something.
Yeah.
And so we've taken a lot of heat, even from some of our partners have said like, hey guys, we don't want you to kind of abandon the old way. And I'm like, look at, 20X is Paramify, right? We were always this. It was always very focused on the epicenter of planning, execution, and reporting. And it focuses on risk and capabilities to mitigate risk. It was always that. So now what happens? I think that if you want your trust center to be rendered as, here's how it matters for our SOC 2 controls, or here's how it maps to the trust service criteria. Great, show me that in 2 seconds. Show me how it maps to risk around cardholder data in PCI. Well, what does that look like? Show me in 2 seconds. Give me a credible plan for what does that look like? It needs to be so multiple. It's got to be something that can be credible. At the very beginning, it was always that. Paramify was always that. So even the KSIs, we just changed them. We have a pretty cool little tool that can help you build a NOSCAL catalog really quick, right? For controls, and if it changes and manage parameters, it's pretty sick. I love that tool. But our implementation has always been so fast, right? Jack was saying the other day, it made me laugh. He's like, this blows my mind that, what did he say? He goes he said, Paramify got its 20x authorization. It's moderate on the backs of interns.
Interns.
Hilarious. Yeah, it kind of fired me up, and I'm like, yeah.
In fact, I mean, obviously engineering had to build some things, but like as far as the actual InfoSec stuff, we didn't have a single full-time employee on it, did we?
Well, yeah, Isaac. Yeah,
Is he full-time now?
yeah, he's
good.
He's full time.
Good job, Isaac.
But yeah, we'll have a lot more full-time employees pretty soon.
Yeah. It honestly, I mean, this just comes full circle, right? When you talk about like at the very beginning, you know, people, if people are like, why 20x, why Rev 5, don't abandon it. Our message is always, it doesn't matter. That's just a reporting mechanism. Exactly. It doesn't matter. What matters is where's the data going? People, processes, technologies that touch that data. Just build that out well. And if you have agencies that want to see it in Rev 5 format, great. Click a button and give it to them.
Yep.
If they want to see it in Trust Center format, great. Click a button and give it to them. If they want IL5, click this button and give it to them. It doesn't matter. That's all just reporting.
Yeah, if there's a new capability around like AI inventory, great. Let's build out that capability.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our plan for how we're going to do that. And should be transparent. Here's our plan, right? Here's our excuse for why we're not going to do it. You know,
Yep.
Something like that. Future is actually really bright. I know it's a rainy day out here, but
yeah,
it's not always going to be rainy.
We need it though.
Yep.
We need the snow in those mountains.
Mm-hmm.
The worst decision we've made as a company was we bought corporate ski passes as a perk for our employees on what happens to be the worst snow year in the history of the state of Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we did that. The intent is awesome.
Yeah, the intent was really cool. Yeah.
I mean,
but it wasn't even cold enough to make snow until January.
Yeah, the days I booked it, you know.
I didn't even go.
I didn't even go either.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's raining.
Yeah.
It's raining.
Hopefully that always stays the worst mistake we made as a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remember when we fought about the Dodgers and the Giants?
I do remember that, yeah. It's because I need everyone to know that I do like the Dodgers, but I was a fan before they were good.
And I said, they were always pretty good. And you're like, no, they weren't. It sucked. And I'm like, I guess I just wanted you to say that.
The Giants will always have a soft spot of hatred in my heart because I'm actually a Tigers fan first. And the one year they were decent in my entire lifetime, they made it to the World Series. We bought tickets the day they made it. I think they swept.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did.
And then they were sitting around for a week waiting for the Giants to win. But I bought tickets that day. We paid like $600 a piece. Called my dad. I was like, Dad, I'm taking you back. My dad's from Detroit. Taking you there. I got you a ticket. And so we bought it. And we bought it to Game 4 because we were like, in case they sweep, we'll be there for the win. And then they got swept on Game 4. Tickets were sold. They were down 3-0. By the time that game rolled around, tickets were selling on the street for like $40. It was negative 30 degrees. We had two boys at the time. They hid under their coats the entire game. They didn't even watch one play, not one pitch. And then we got swept.
I'm so sorry. Me and my dad loved that series. We loved it.
That was the day that I was like, I hate the Giants so much.
And I didn't actually realize because I was like, dude, this sucks. Dodgers are buying their championships. And then besides 2010,
which was magic.
When I look back at that 2012, the Giants also bought that. And I'm like, oh. And in 2014.
It's tricky. If you're not in the top 5 in payroll, you're going to have a hard time competing for a World Series.
That sucks.
Yeah. We've talked about this in the office. The NFL does it the best.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Everybody's...
But it's the best.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a chance.
The NBA is barely a sport at this point.
That's true.
I say that as a disgruntled Jazz fan.
Yeah, what happened last... Yeah. Because they had the worst record, and then what happened?
They had the highest odds to get the first pick. The Jazz have never once gotten a pick above their worst case scenario in the draft. Never once. Tell me that's by chance. I don't buy it.
Yeah, and what happened last...
And then they're like, okay, to make sure it's totally transparent, let's take everything in the back room and draw.
with PwC or something, or
I don't
EY.
know. It was
Who audited?
thing. I don't remember.
We're gonna have.
But then we also, yeah. And even LeBron saying like, you're telling me you think it's chance that Cleveland got the first pick when I was in there. It's just a chance that Chicago got it when Derrick Rose was up, and just chance that Dallas got it when they traded away Luka. Like, lame.
It feels like someone's pulling the strings.
Back to the Illuminati.
Why did we get into Cohort 1?